Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Trebas Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Cross-border raw sewage, fouling air, and closing beaches. Thanks for joining us. I'm John Carroll in for Maya Trabulsi. Today, several members of Congress were in the South Bay to announce a new bill aimed at combating this ongoing problem. KPBS reporter Alexander Nguyen was there.
Every day, nearly 100 million gallons of sewage flow into the Tijuana River Valley, making its way here to the ocean.
It's so disgusting and so disheartening to see this happen to our beaches.
Carmen Say now lives in Northern California, but she grew up in Imperial Beach. She used to spend all day in the water.
We spent a lot of time at this beach, enjoying the beach, out in the water playing. I won't even put my feet in the sand.
But now, she won't even touch the water.
I can't take a chance of, getting sick with it.
If you come out to Imperial Beach, you notice this sign, keep out of the water. The beaches here have been closed for more than 1,000 days, and residents here say the sewage issue needs to be resolved immediately.
It is an outrage that in the year 2024, literal raw sewage and toxic waste continues to shut down our beaches.
Senator Alex Padilla and Congressman Scott Peters and Juan Vargas were in the South Bay today to introduce a new bill to combat the ongoing sewage problem. It would make the Environmental Protection Agency the lead agency for a comprehensive plan to manage water quality for the Tijuana River Valley. Vargas calls it a proactive approach and a long-term solution.
This plan that we're putting in place today put the EPA in charge to quarterback this for the long term. We also have $400 million to fix the plant, to double the plant.
Congress previously approved $300 million to expand the South Bay International Wastewater Treatment Plant. Earlier this year, more than $156 million was approved for critical repairs to the plant.
I think that's wonderful. I would have liked to have seen it happen yesterday.
For Say, she hopes the problem can be resolved so that the empty beaches will be filled with families again. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
New details today in the deadly shooting at Appalachia High School in Winder, Georgia. Investigators interviewed the 14-year-old suspect and his father in 2023. They say officials received, quote, several anonymous tips about online threats of a possible shooting at an unidentified school. It comes as the community mourns the 4 lives lost on Wednesday. Laura Aguirre has more.
We have questions that we want answered.
Key among those questions, how did a 14-year-old boy obtain an AR-15 style rifle and open fire in a Georgia high school Wednesday, killing 2 fellow students and 2 teachers? What is known, according to authorities, is the teen suspect will be charged as an adult on 4 felony murder charges at his expected court appearance Friday. County and federal investigators confirm the teen and his father were interviewed last year after they say officials received, quote, several anonymous tips about online threats of a possible shooting targeting an unidentified school. The teen denied being involved, and although the suspect's father revealed that he kept hunting guns in the house, he told investigators his son didn't have unsupervised access to them, and they determined there was no probable cause for arrest.
We got to look at being able to secure those firearms and ensure that these kids do not gain access to them in any way.
Georgia State Senator Emanuel Jones says new locking laws are on the agenda for next year's legislative draft session.
We need to work on child access prevention and to hold the parents accountable for children having access to guns, either intentionally or unintentionally.
Earlier this year, the parents of Michigan school shooter Ethan Crumbley, James and Jennifer Crumbley, were each sentenced up to 15 years in prison for involuntary manslaughter for their roles related to their son's deadly crime. Ethan Crumbley was convicted of killing 4 students at Oxford High School in 2021. Now a Georgia high school begins a similar journey toward healing. I'm Laura Aguirre for KPBS News.
With temperatures soaring over 100 degrees in some areas, extreme heat can be hazardous for anyone. KPBS health reporter Heidi DeMarco says it's especially dangerous for people with chronic conditions.
The National Weather Service says this level of heat affects anyone without effective cooling or adequate hydration.
So you're sitting in the heat, every day you're sweating and you're losing water, you're losing sodium, you're losing these electrolytes, and these things can really sneak up on patients and cause an acute problem.
Dr. Nick Sadi says people suffering from chronic conditions such as hypertension, diabetes, and cardiac disease are especially susceptible to heat-related health risks.
Well, a lot of those medications work by essentially dehydrating you. They work by forcing or stimulating your kidneys to excrete electrolytes like sodium, and that drags with it water on a physiologic level, and that can certainly predispose you to dehydration.
Symptoms of dehydration can vary.
Headaches, or like a vague lightheaded sensation, and all of these things can be a symptom of a need for water or electrolytes.
Sharp and Kaiser say their emergency rooms haven't seen an uptick in cases so far this week. But Sadi says he's often treating patients with dehydration during the summer.
So a lot of times we'll have patients who have blood pressure issues, low blood pressure, fainting spells, things like that.
Sadi says when it's this hot out, people should pay closer attention to their medical history and health conditions.
I think it pays to have a little humility and understand that you might not be able to bounce back from the heat as well as you used to. You might not be able to manage dehydration as well as you used to. So don't be afraid to get some rest, to cool down, and to hydrate.
Heidi DeMarco, KPBS News.
Another resource, a helpful resource to deal with the heat, are cooling centers. The city of San Diego has opened up 11 recreation centers. They are listed in alphabetical order on your screen right there. You can also go to any San Diego public library during open hours.
After near record-breaking temperatures for some parts of Southern California as we head into the weekend, the heat will continue. I am tracking sunny, hot, and even some breezy conditions from time to time as we head into that Saturday and Sunday. But the good news is some relief is on its way. I'll have an updated look at that forecast coming up.
Professional soccer icon and San Diego Wave FC forward Alex Morgan announced the end of her soccer career today. KPBS reporter Tanya Thorne has the details on Morgan's retirement.
Legend, icon, and an all-star women's soccer player, Alex Morgan, announced her retirement in a video message posted to her X account. Morgan calls the decision a tough one, but one that she had been debating since the start of this season.
I'm retiring, and I have so much clarity about this decision, and I'm so happy to be able to finally tell you.
Morgan said soccer has been a part of her life for 30 years, a professional career that includes titles with the U.S. women's national team.
It's Morgan once more.
FIFA Women's World Cup championships.
An artist and her canvas, Alex Morgan.
And signing with San Diego Wave in 2022. Accomplishments that she said helped shape and expand women's soccer.
We're changing lives, and the impact we have on the next generation is irreversible. And I'm proud in the hand I had in making that happen.
As captain of the Wave, Morgan helped lead the team to the playoffs in their inaugural season, followed by the team's first trophy in the 2023 National Women's Soccer League Shield.
She's just a great human being. She fights for women's rights. She fights for equal pay. And she is a huge part of the San Diego community.
Amy Holmes is with the San Diego Sirens, an independent supporter group of San Diego Wave Football Club.
So choosing to come here and take a risk on a brand new team, we're so grateful for that. And she has really ingrained herself in our community.
While Morgan's retirement is bittersweet, Holmes says it brings new opportunities.
We'll miss her immensely on the field, and we hope she stays involved with the team. But it's definitely an opportunity for the club and also the national team to bring in some youth and to bring in someone to fill those shoes. They have huge shoes to fill, obviously, but it really does allow for growth and progression in the game.
News of Morgan's retirement also came with a second announcement.
I am pregnant. And as unexpected as this came, we are so overjoyed.
This is Morgan's second child. Her final game will be at Snapdragon Stadium on Sunday at 5 p.m. San Diego Wave FC will be holding a celebration of Morgan's career at their final home game on November 3rd. From the KPBS Newsroom, Tanya Thorne.
I'm Amna Navaz. Tonight on the NewsHour, what we know about online threats made by the alleged Georgia school shooter more than a year ago. That's coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Not guilty. That's the plea entered by former President Donald Trump's attorneys in federal court today. The plea in response to a revised indictment over Trump's alleged interference in the 2020 election. This coming just days before he faces Vice President Kamala Harris on the debate stage. Brian Abel has the latest.
Former President Donald Trump's attorneys entering a not guilty plea Thursday during a hearing in federal court following the revised January 6th related indictment leveled by special counsel Jack Smith. As she considers how the case will move forward after the Supreme Court's presidential immunity decision, with the election just 60 days away, Judge Tanya Chutkan reminding the Trump defense team the electoral process and what needs to happen before the election does not matter here. Trump today working to refocus the campaign on the economy with a speech at the Economic Club of New York.
Kamala Harris can't bring down the price of anything because her energy policies are driving up the cost of everything.
The Harris campaign preemptively countering.
She's talking about the economy almost every single day on the campaign trail and her plans to lower costs, whether it's in housing or groceries.
Both campaigns crisscrossing battleground states this week with a focus on Pennsylvania. The Harris campaign, fresh off an endorsement from Republican and former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, hunkered down in the Commonwealth, preparing for the debate there against Trump in less than a week's time.
It gives those voters permission to say, okay, Liz Cheney, the daughter of, former Vice President Dick Cheney, someone who's wildly conservative, someone who's, moderate. If she can vote for Kamala Harris, then maybe I can too.
Trump, meanwhile, at a Fox News event in Pennsylvania Wednesday night, seemingly setting expectations for the moderator's treatment of him for the upcoming ABC debate.
ABC is the worst network in terms of fairness.
That September 10th debate, another pivotal moment in this election, as North Carolina begins sending out absentee ballots this week. In Washington, Brian Abel reporting.
The Justice Department says Russia spent millions of dollars to influence the election and other issues through social media. The DOJ has indicted 2 employees of the Kremlin's media arm, RT. They're allegedly part of a nearly $10 million scheme to set up a front company, Tenant Media, with the goal of affecting how you vote in November.
They're using RT and they're using social media influencers and artificial intelligence to sow disinformation and to push their own policies and programs.
In response to the allegations, an RT spokesperson says they're cracking down on Russia's use of fake profiles and faux news websites. Getting a college degree has long been considered the ticket to a high-paying and stable job. But as students return to campus, could trade or vocational school now be a faster path to economic success? More on that from Michael Yoshida.
There's a surprising trend that appears to be paying off for younger workers.
Success should not be measured by the color of the collar. With the lack of skilled labor force and those trade and technical jobs, we see the need and the impact in the economy that we need more of those jobs.
Over the last 5 years, enrollment in bachelor's degree programs fell, while enrollment in vocational schools grew. That according to data from the National Student Clearinghouse.
You won't have that college debt. You won't have those student loans that you normally have with that college education.
Part of the shift appears to stem from a post-pandemic reevaluation of an investment in blue-collar work.
This shipyard runs an apprentice program giving workers the skills to do these jobs. They can earn up to $100,000 a year, and you don't need a college degree.
Both the federal and state government have invested a lot in infrastructure, so you're seeing a lot of jobs in those areas in construction.
As hiring rates for workers in their 20s have risen in recent years for roles requiring a vocational or associate's degree, some offer this warning.
You can get a high-paying career, a great wage right out of high school without a college degree. Yes, that is absolutely true, But we also need to pair that with leadership skills and leadership education and saying, after a few years, do you really see yourself physically doing that job all the way through retirement?
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
Southern California has many museums. Some are popular and well attended. Others are smaller and don't get as much notice. Ken Kramer heads to Imperial County for the story of one little museum in the desert that's had to overcome many obstacles in its struggle to survive.
Interstate 8, take the Ocotillo turnoff, okay? Make a couple of right turns, and there is what's called the Imperial Valley Desert Museum, a story of survival in the desert, where they have a favorite saying.
Well, we always say, give us 20 minutes and we'll give you 10 million years.
20 minutes, 10 million years? Okay, there are exhibits that do take you back that far. Like the Gulf of California. Did you know it used to extend all the way up to the Coachella Valley? Topographic sand that changes color as you build dunes by hand, and a little darkened room where you can go in and experience the Kumeyaay relationship to the night sky, listening to bird songs used in Kumeyaay ceremonies dating back centuries. You look around, so much of life and living in the harsh desert has to do with surviving. Pottery that's lasted the elements preserved 1,000 to maybe 2,000 years. Geological artifacts dating back to time immemorial. There's Dottie, an endangered Sonoran desert tortoise who here survives and thrives. Even this museum itself. Kristen O'Lear is its executive director.
So initially the museum actually was on Main Street in downtown El Centro, but there was a series of events like hurricane, like Tropical Storm Kathleen that came through. We also had an earthquake that came that kind of forced our doors to close.
Skeptics joked that this museum out here just off the interstate would never open, never attract a crowd and be successful. But here it is, still a mostly undiscovered gem, but doing well, thank you.
So much like the desert environment, we've had to really adapt.
Outside is a walking tour with little signs, descriptions of the land or plant life of the Yuha Desert all around us. It's a Kumeyaay word. It means there is water. And there are springs not far from here, but you go back 10 million years.
I mean, like what's right in front of us, those are the Coyote Mountains. And those, we actually have a hike to that called the top of the ocean, because that is how high the Gulf of California used to reach.
Really?
Was the top of those mountains over there. No, not at all. It was quite deep and quite vast.
That's right. You still find sand dollars and fossils up there, while everywhere we're walking now was once deep underwater. I can never think of the parched, arid desert here quite the same way, nor of the Kumeyaay, who millennia later lived here and survived here and still do have this relationship with the land and the nighttime sky. There's an area on the grounds, an area protected from light and the desert wind, a place to savor the night sky as it might have been enjoyed in antiquity.
But no, it's really, really beautiful, because when everything's dark, and then this kind of, will drown out the sound of the highway, and you're really just taking it in.
So there are stargazing events here that link us with the wonder and awe at the universe that the Kumeyaay treasure to this day. It is enwrapping and welcoming, and in fact in the daytime there is the Kumeyaay word hoka, a word of greeting, but more than that, it is a blessing. And that's really what this museum is out here in the desert.
But we think, the trip is worth the effort.
Just off the interstate at Ocotillo, the Imperial Valley Desert Museum, where there's a commitment to tribal voices and tribal participation, to 10 million years of historic authenticity, and yes, to survival.
Ken Kramer's About San Diego is, gotta say it, an outstanding half-hour show about the history and people of the area we call home. It can be seen tonight and every Thursday night at 8 o'clock right here on KPBS.
This record-breaking heat wave will continue here as we head into the weekend. And for tonight across the metro, lows will dip into the low 70s. A pretty nice start here for your early Friday, but some low clouds will be near the coast. But overall, Great weather here across the Southern California region for tonight. Overnight lows be a mix of upper 60s, low 70s. Then we'll see some more moderate conditions here as you go farther to the east. Oceanside, Camp Pendleton tonight down to 65 degrees with some morning clouds moving in. But then as we head throughout Saturday, I will be tracking that stubborn area of high pressure. That heat dome is going to intensify and expand here as we head into Friday and Saturday. So we will see daily record highs being challenged primarily across the Pacific Northwest, but Southern California, yes, we will see very hot weather here mixed in as well as we head throughout your Friday and Saturday. So for tomorrow across San Diego County, look at this, Oceanside 91 degrees, pretty hot for this time of year. San Diego 87, and then as you look across the desert region, yeah, Borrego Springs 112, very hot weather here for this afternoon. And then as we head into your Friday, for the most part, lots of sunshine. There will be a lot of cloud coverage there off the coast. But one thing I will point out, some of the mountainous regions and a little bit to the north, we will see some scattered showers, but overall the chance of rain is going to remain relatively low here as we head throughout your Friday. And for Saturday, lots of sunshine, a little bit of cloud coverage working its way into the LA basin, but other than that, it's going to be mild and sunny. So for your Friday, highs will make it to the 90s. That hot weather is going to continue. We'll have a little bit of a break from the 90s on Saturday, but then we're right back there on Sunday, and then more moderate weather moves in here starting on Monday with highs a mix of 80s, mid 80s for Monday and Tuesday. Inland, very hot weather, near record high temperatures in the low 100s. And then we'll see that break from the oppressive heat as we head into next week. Across the mountainous regions, 80s on Friday, which is pretty warm for early September. And then after that, we'll moderate into the 70s. And yes, you knew it, across the desert, 112 on Friday, and then we'll stay in the upper 100s as we head into next week. For KPBS, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Damian Lotus.
A hidden gem in Vista is turning 25 this year. KPBS North County reporter Alexander Nguyen takes us to a secret garden and shows why it's so special to the people there.
Up in the hills of Vista, behind a public park, lies a secret garden filled with turtles, butterflies, and the occasional dragonfly.
And unless you go up to the top of the hill looking for us, you wouldn't know we're here.
But the secret garden is actually 17 gardens in all.
I refer to it as a boutique botanical gardens.
The Alta Vista Botanical Gardens was founded in 1999, but its history stretches back further. In the 1960s, retired Surgeon Paul Smigan and his wife Martha bought this property inside Branco Terrace Park. It was their vacation home.
It's a haven of nature and beauty.
And the couple loved the wildlife here.
The gardens has many little creatures, and big ones too. We have some of the most beautiful red-tailed hawks.
The couple left the 16-acre property to charity, and the city of Vista bought it in 1990 for nearly $2 million and incorporated it as part of Branco Terrace Park. In 1999, the city designated much of the land as a public garden to be managed by a nonprofit foundation. That's how Vista Botanical Garden Foundation and the gardens came to be.
We signed a lease with the city of Vista for 99 years. It was a barren hillside, and with the help of volunteers over the 25 years, we've turned it into a beautiful area for discovery and adventure.
Rusty Dixon is the manager at Alta Vista Botanical Gardens. She says it's not just a public space, but also a place where cherished family memories are made and milestones are celebrated. The gardens hold a special place in her heart.
I had a memory pop up on my phone. It's us standing in front of that chain link. Well, it's my kids standing in front of that chain link, and they must have been 6 and 7, 5 and 6. And now they're 18 and 18. I mean, both of them are leaving me this week.
Aww. Dixon proudly shows off her children, Carson and Addison, as she shows us around the children's garden. It's the first garden after the entrance.
My children grew up here.
Dixon's children are now in college, which leaves her more time to dedicate to the gardens.
360 view, what needs to be done, how to get it done. My weakness in the past has been plants.
Okay.
But I said in the past, because every day I'm learning something new, what just keeps it even more exciting.
The garden's mission is to educate, protect, and preserve endangered habitats. Part of that is letting people experience nature and showing them the trees and plants from different parts of the world.
This is what we call our Madagascar garden, and all of these are primarily from Madagascar, hence the name.
Of course, it wouldn't be Madagascar without a baobab tree. But here, it's represented by a sculpture.
And it was donated by our artist, Robert Rochin, in 2015. And you can see the beautiful bougainvillea that is sharing its space.
It's not the only sculpture at Alta Vista. Some of them take you to the past,
These are our cycads.
the prehistoric past.
Right behind you is one of our prehistoric dinosaur sculptures.
There are Deinonychus and Spinosaurus. They were done by artist Ricardo Preseda, the same artist who made the dinosaur sculptures in Borrego Springs. At Alta Vista, his sculptures include a scorpion, giraffe, and a serpent. There are dozens of sculptures from different artists around the gardens, merging nature and art for a bit of zen.
What makes this garden special is that it is mostly volunteer run with minimal staff, and the volunteers do take the initiative to adopt and maintain a section of the garden.
For a place that's mostly volunteer run, Dixon says turning 25 is a huge milestone.
To celebrate it, we are having a fundraising gala.
She says the entrance and membership fees only cover a portion of the expenses of running the gardens. The rest is made up by donations, so the funds raised by the gala will help the garden remain open for many years, allowing future generations to enjoy it, just as her kids have.
This area is its tranquility, its peace, it's a haven.
Alexander Lin, KPBS News.
The Alta Vista Botanical Gardens 25th Anniversary Gala is this Saturday, starting at 5 in the afternoon. For more information, visit the community events calendar on our website. That is kpbs.org/events. And as always, you can find tonight's stories on that very same website, kpbs.org. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm John Carroll. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, and air restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following: and by viewers like you. Thank you.